Hey everybody, it says we're live and we have a special guest today. That's Peter of MOBB Guppy. I recognize that a lot of you here are also subscribers to Peter and follow him. I see you over there, but in case you are not, please check out his channel, and he does a lot of discussion. So if you like that, that's the place you want to check out. And that's what we're going to do today. Just have to let Yazzie out. Sorry, he was sound asleep. You guys know my dogs have been horrible the last couple of days.
Yeah, well, Bolo came and showed up from sleeping. I took him for a walk about 15 minutes ago. So hopefully normally that's his last walk of the night. So hopefully we're in good shape. Otherwise, I'm taking you guys out for a walk with Bolo.
Oh, that'd be cool. You got snow on the ground still?
Not much. It's pretty much melted away. It rained a little bit today, and not a lot, but it's been about 45 degrees.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. I'm going to just say hello to everybody. I've been looking at the chat a little bit, but some of you know that I moderate over at Susie Q's, another awesome channel, and somehow was the only mod there, so couldn't get on over here any earlier. Nothing to really do there but post links. But there's Amy, there's Maria Z, there's Merdul, there's MOBB Guppy. Hi, Peter. Brian at Peplin Creek, Fish and Floral. John Larson, hello. Furloughs Aquatics, Eric. Fish and Floral again. Deborah Sanders, howdy. I'm watching the warm weather, Deborah. Or for the warm weather. Sandy Dowdy, hello. Greg the Guppy guy, you're in the right place, Greg. You're going to enjoy tonight's stream for sure. Loraya, I think, Loerya. Loraya. Chubby Guppy, Tim. Shelly Dweller. Muppet 929. Still in ya. Mike's Aquatics. Hey, Mike. Bobby, Tennessee Aqua. Let's see. I think I'm almost to the bottom here. Almost. It looks like it jumped on me. There's GRB Aquatics. Welcome, GRB. Good to see you. How are your lizards doing? It seems like I haven't seen those lately. He had some lizards kind of wander into his house in Australia there.
Nice.
Yeah, aquatic nests. Yeah, there'd be like 700 each year, I think, if you wanted to keep them or buy them. Rob's Aquarium, Michelle, Melvin. I'm glad I'm going back up. Anthony, there's Anthony. Yeah, some of our regular people, Peter, you know.
Absolutely.
Back up, Patty. There's Patty. Several members here too, so that's awesome. Susie saying hi to you, Peter.
Hey, Susie.
She shouted you out in her stream at the start and said she was excited that you were going to be on here tonight.
Well, that's very nice.
Susie is a very nice lady, a great channel.
I know she is. I watch it quite a bit. I wasn't watching today. I've been so busy with work and stuff. It's been nuts.
Jacob Kelly, Carrie Science Gal. Well, Peter, you're a huge draw. I'm still greeting people, and that's awesome. I'm not complaining.
Well, it's great to have everybody here.
It is. It really is. I think, unless there's somebody in the middle between the bottom and the top that yeah, that's everybody. All right. All right. Get back all the way to the bottom. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Great to have you here, and I certainly understand why you came. Peter is an awesome guppy keeper, and when I asked him to, actually he volunteered to come on because I didn't have him back today. I have mentioned in his stream, and he said he was available, so that was awesome. And today, kind of like, what are we going to talk about? And he suggested selecting breeders, so there you go. But Peter said he was going to kind of go through his process with us, and he was going to show us some tanks. We're good. He'll show us some of these tanks, so behave. And with that, I'm going to let you have it, Peter.
Well, thanks. My tanks, by the way, I'll warn you, are not perfect. They're actual working fish room stuff. But as we go and we look here, every tank started off as a trio. And depending on the tank, some I have like about 15 guppies, including some fry. I've just started a little thing. And some of them, I'm in the process now of resetting up trios to continue my breeding program. And if you go and you buy, I'll give you a couple of tips. Is that guppy breeding is like art. And Bob and I could have the same lines of guppies, which we actually do. We have some of the same lines. But what Bob looks for in a breeder, I may look at totally differently. And so it's that's the main thing to go through is find the traits that you want, the colors, the size, and if you're an IFGA breeder, there's a couple of things they look for. Of course, is they want the perfect tail, whether it be a sword tail or a delta tail. They want matching. They want a matching dorsal. That's a long flowing dorsal, and it's a process to go through. So, in sort of what my breeding groups are right now is that I have 2 tanks of Roebuck Reds that I'm going to be spreading out to like 4 or 5 tanks, and I'll walk you into the future fish room here, which I haven't gotten a lot done. I've done the flooring, but I haven't done anything else. And I'll get into that. It's just been so busy at work. I mean, I swear to you, the last 8 weeks I've been just overwhelmed. But finally, I'm getting out of it. I think it'll be slowing down. So I go through and I pick out the traits that I'm after, and I set up my breeders. And a lot of guppy breeders will pick out 2 males that are identical or close to identical with 3 or 4 females. I don't. I just pick out a trio. And I just pick out a trio and I let it go from there. I let the colony grow a little bit, then I go through the same process. Tomorrow I am shipping out, 4 trios of sword tails to 1 person. And then I'm shipping out a couple of gray body females of the sword tails and a yellow male sword tail out to somebody else. So that's what I do. And so it's just you go through and you pick them and you go. It's just tomorrow I'll have all these guppies go out of my room, so that'll be good. And with the sword tails, and Bob, you have some, right?
Yes.
They reproduce pretty quick, don't they?
They do. They really do. And they tend not to predate, so that really gets your numbers up.
Yeah, and the surprising thing, by the way, about sword-tailed guppies is that they are amazingly beautiful and colorful. Mm-hmm. And the pictures that you see of them do not do them justice.
Right.
Once you see them in person, you're just going, wow. So I have a couple of different patterns that I'm working on, and it's kind of fun. Kind of fun all the way around. Let me walk you over to the future fish room. I have Bolo's gate in front of here. Hold on.
While you're
so here we go. And I just had this flooring done. And I have to get an electrician out here as well. But this is a pretty good sized room. And I'm planning to have, let's see here. Let's see, I can try to do a couple of racks here. I think I'm going to be able to do about 48 10-gallon aquariums in here. Plus a bigger tank where I'll allow my Kullmeister to live. Now, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with that. So that's what's going on in this room. And so I'll get that up, and I have another room over here that's filled with aquariums that I'll, once I get the stands in here, I'll go and get that in place. So it's, you want me to show you the guppies now?
Oh, sure.
Okay, let me see if how I can flip this around. 1 second here.
Put you on solo in anticipation of that.
Yeah, so let's see here.
When you were talking about picking a trio and you said you didn't pick those that had the same characteristics, is there a reason for that? Or, uh-oh. Are you still here? Must have hit the button. He'll be back. Susie said yes, please. There he is.
Sorry, I turned around and lost it. I can't switch the size of this camera, so I'm going to turn around the phone. And here is my first swordtail tank. You're going to notice I have a way too many males in here, and you'll see a lot of fry. And these are more of the yellow version, gold bodies. And I need to say goodbye to some of these males, but that's what I have going on there.
What were those called?
These are swordtails, the more yellow-bodied swords.
Okay.
And yeah, there's a lot of fry in here. They just ate a bunch of baby brine shrimp. Here are the Roebuck Reds, which for whatever reason, again, I have way too many males here. But I'm going to take some of these out, set up a couple of trios from here. But you're look at the males in here, and they are just gorgeous. You know, of course, there's plants in the way. There's some young males right there, right? You see them, Bob?
Oh, yeah. I didn't want to proposition you live, but I will. I could use some males if you have extra to sell.
Yeah, I can hook you.
You know, I have the same from the same source, I believe. So
Yeah,
mine are great quality. I just could use couple males.
Yeah, I can hook you up. And the colors are great.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to show you something. This is now what I look for in here on the Roebuck Reds. Well, the swordtails. Let's talk about the swordtails first. Is that I look for males of a certain pattern. And there's a pattern I really sort of like here that some of the it's just tough to get a shot here with this camera, and I'll get I need to update some videos so you guys can see them. There's a certain pattern I like with the gray bodies. Go from there. Now I have a sword. Well, I'm going to show you. I made an accidental cross, and I've done a video on these guys, but I want to show you. This is Roebuck Red with swordtails by accident.
Oh, wow.
And see how beautiful those reds are?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I have a lot of females in here. So I've got to set up a new trio of those. I'll do this. I'll show you. Here's some more swordtails just to give you an idea. There's swordtails. There's swordtails.
Wow.
There's swordtails. And here are the two empty aquariums that I'll do through. I'll go and I'll get those running later on this week. And oh, here's some more swordtails. Let me show you this.
Beautiful.
And now here's a cross, and I actually introduced a couple of swordtail males into here just to add. I received a half red blonde cobra pair of guppies. The female died in the first week, so I just said, okay, let me pop in a couple of swordtail females in there because I have extra, and do I want this male to die? But, just to have one male. So here's what this looks like. And we're several generations into this cross. And I was sort of hoping to get swordtails out of this, and they haven't happened. So you'll see a couple of swordtail males that I put in here, hoping they'll grow out.
Some of those are getting lower swords, though.
Yeah, they are, but they're not. It's not, exactly what I'm after.
Right.
So, the idea here is that each one of these aquariums, I'm going to pick out, that male that I think is the best, that has the traits that I want. And then I'm going to set up with a couple of females. And generally, you want to set up with females that are between, I like to set them up 3 to 4 months of age. So younger females, and just let the magic happen.
Yep. Thank you for taking us through there.
Yeah, no problem.
A lot of breeders won't do that, as you know.
Yes. So it's again, it's just the process here of going through and setting them up right and getting them in place. It's just and it and again, when I have more aquariums set up, it'll be so much easier. This rack was not set up right. And it's my fault. I should have set up the bottom one about 4 or 5 inches higher than it is, and taken the upper level. I didn't show you that because it's the Amica Splendens tank. It's too damn high, and I can't scrape the algae off of it. Yeah. It's near a window.
Right.
And it had not a ton of algae, but you wouldn't really be able to see the fish in there at all. So. And it's too high for me to get a scrape on it. So I'll move Amika's into this other room. I'll probably take this complete rack out of this room and move it over into the other room. But it's just, step by step, as we're all doing with this hobby. It never ends.
No, it doesn't. It does not. My problem is I usually get the bottom rack and tanks a little too high. So I've got a new rack to set up. I've talked about it for months, and I'm going to try to tomorrow. But I want to be real careful. And I've never done a double stack. I've never gone above 3 levels, so I'm planning on doing 4. So, yep.
Are you going to do all 10s with that?
Sorry?
Are you going to do all 10 gallons with that?
Yes. Yep.
Now I'm going to do on the I'm going to do on upper level stuff. I have in the other room, I have 5 20 hives that I'm going to set up. And just as mainly as just sort of grow out before fish get sold.
Okay.
And so I can keep my populations in my 10 gallons, just keep it to the parents and the babies and don't allow other genetics to get in there.
Right. I don't know if you saw it, but Anthony's Fishy Friends, he's going back and changing some of his tins out for 20 talls for that reason and others. But yeah,
I find that at least for me, working with guppies, for the breeding tanks, 10s are the way to go. They're easy to handle. They're easy to clean. I can get them out, like the 2 aquariums that I have just ready to go. Those have been washed out and cleaned. All I have to do is add in water. I have the sponge filters ready to go. I have the heaters ready to go. And, I have the water. I have the water being treated right now. I'll show you what I do with my water just for grins here. I age my water. Number one, for a couple of reasons, because I think putting in water straight from the tap, even with treatment in it, in my opinion, it can be too hard on the guppies. And because I'm in a place that's getting cold winter,
Right.
it's going on from there. So I use a bucket like this, okay? And inside it, this one's just about empty. I just finished, I did a bunch of water changes yesterday. I have another one on the other side that I filled up on Thursday, and the water came out of the tap at 50 degrees even. And putting 50-degree water in your aquariums is just not a good idea.
What? So do you age the water, but do you treat it as well?
Yeah,
In
I
the
treat
bucket?
it. I treat it. I have two sets of buckets. I have the bucket for the dirty water. I have buckets for clean water. And I have the Lowe's buckets for the clean. I have Home Depot for the dirty. And then, yeah, I treat it. And I usually make sure the water is, my aquariums are all about 78 degrees. And I make sure that the water is at least like 61 or 62. And I don't feel the need to heat it up to the temp that's in the aquariums, mainly because in nature, and I try to repeat. At least here's what my thinking is that these aquariums need to be as close to nature as possible. So, and here's what I mean by that is that when you do a water change, is that when it rains, the rain is always warmer or colder. Just is. And so colder water that goes into the aquariums, that's a natural type of thing. I did water changes yesterday and I did big ones because I had hurt my hand and I had not been able to do a water change in about 3.5 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So I did yesterday on all those aquariums I showed you, I did 50% water changes yesterday.
Do you normally do 50%, or you just catch?
I usually do. On these small aquariums, I do. On my bigger aquariums, I don't.
Yeah.
I'll do like 20%, in my 65 and in my 55. But in these little aquariums, yeah, I change out, about 50%. And it's funny is that I made mention of that on one of my live streams, and people were kind of upset that they go, "Oh, you'll put your fish into shock," and I'm going, "Oh, gee, I wish that was the case." No, I've never had any issues. Excuse me, I had one issue where right after a water change, I began to have problems with one of the aquariums. I did some treatment with it, and then I came to the firm determination that I was suffering from sick aquarium syndrome.
Right, right.
And on these little aquariums like that, you're just going, well, how can that be? All the aquariums are next to each other. How can one aquarium become sick and while the rest of them do fine? And I would like to know the answer to that, but there isn't. So here's how I do it when I get a sick aquarium, is that I remove the fish, just net them out, and put them into a new aquarium that's set up and ready to go at near the same temp with a brand new everything. And then when I take down the other aquarium, I throw out the sponge filter, and I go and I disinfect the aquarium. I don't use bleach. I use a spray bottle I have that's about it's probably it's probably 5/8, 6/8, 3/4 plus of water, and then a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. Then I spray down the aquarium, and then I rinse it out with water a few times, and then it's ready to go.
A lot of people, several people are saying that they do 50% and more than 50% and no issues. I routinely do It depends on if it's a shrimp tank. I might just do 30. But if it's a smaller tank that's not like a beta, I'm looking right at them beta tanks. I won't do as much. I might just do 25%. Um, and that's with plants and all that, heaters and all that.
Yeah.
So it's a natural filtration. Um, but with my 180 and the 125, because they are stocked highly, the nitrate begins to creep up in them in about a week. It takes that long, but to get it up to like 40 or 50, it takes about a week. So I go ahead and do 50% in each of those. And the fish are fine. I mean, they're big
Yeah.
fish. They're fine.
It's and again, the idea here is it depends how you're feeding, what you're trying to do. I feed my fish 3 to 5 times a day. Is that I will occasionally, for instance, tomorrow I have fish being shipped out. So the only fish that will eat are the Amica splendens.
Mm-hmm.
I get home from work. I go to work early. I get up at 3 a.m. to go to work. So so when I'm done here, I'll go to bed. I mean, straight to bed. But here's the deal: is that I will wait because I like my last feeding before I ship fish to be baby brine shrimp, and that's what just all the tanks got, and they got a lot of it. So after that, I'm going to go and after I get that done, I'm going to go and do uh, I'll pack the fish, get ready to go. Then I'll feed twice right in a row. I'll feed right before I go out to get the fish off to the mailbox, and then I'll do another feeding when I get home. Those will be relatively smart, and they'll get a big baby brine shrimp thing before I go to bed. And that's actually pretty good because the idea here is there's some people that go through and they fast their fish room, if not once a week, they do it every 2, 3 weeks.
Right.
Um, because I have guppies that are growing, I generally don't fast the fish room.
Now,
So,
you're saying
except
that.
for these mornings,
Sorry, go ahead.
except for those mornings where I'm getting, when I get home and do some shipping.
Right.
So it's I have my boxes. I have to finish putting insulation in one of the boxes, but both of them will be packed up, and I'll take them off tomorrow and send them on their way.
That would be, I'd be interested in seeing it if you ever had the patience to do a video about that. A lot of people aren't interested in packing, but I am because I'm going to definitely be doing more this year shipping.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. The guy who I've been sort of paying attention to, and I saw how he did it. I don't ship enough fish to do it, where I have a real system down that makes sense. But I saw what our buddy John Oliver does,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and he has a real slick way of doing it, and I'm gonna go and take from him. I'm right now using the the razor blade with that insulation, that cheap insulation you can get at Home Depot or at Office Max, and it ends up being, I mean, my vacuum now is halfway full of just those little white things from what I did today.
Yeah.
And I'll do more of that tomorrow because I have to, I got the order in late. That'll go out tomorrow, and ironically, they're both going to the Northeast. I ship more fish to the Northeast. Don't ask me why.
Right now, all I'm holding is some plants, or two plants to two different people, and they're both in this area near Tennessee or in Tennessee, and some fish. They're
Yeah,
in
that's nice.
here. So, yeah, I hadn't shipped in probably 3 months. So.
I did a shipment that didn't go well because I got delayed.
Yeah.
And so I have to send replacement fish. We're going to do that in March.
I had 2 shipments that got delayed, and I really shouldn't have shipped anymore, but one went to Alabama and then one to Pam in Wyoming, and both of them were dead except one little crayfish was barely alive in Pam's, and it survived. So no, I've got to catch
What's
those.
funny is that I shipped. This will be my first shipment I've done since I did one like like the second week of January that turned out to be a nightmare. And then it got too doggone cold. I've had this thing for this 4 trios of swordtails some guy's going to get. He's got more swordtails he's never going to know what to do with. And so that's going to New York, I believe. And it's the other one's going to Virginia. And the process is that I've only had one shipment where they didn't arrive alive, and that was the one I did in second week in January.
So you're shipping right now?
Yeah. I have stuff going out tomorrow.
Yeah. If somebody wanted to order fish from you, how would they go about that?
They can reach out to me. I occasionally will post stuff on Aquabid, but they can just reach out to me at mob.guppy@gmail or through the Mob Guppy Facebook page.
We've got some awesome mods, so they'll get that there. I'm going to be reaching out to you there too.
Yeah, well, it's the deal is that I'm having and if anybody wants to help me with those 2 crosses I'm doing, if they want to go out and do their hand at them, I'll make a deal on them and I'll send them a bunch of either one.
I know you had the Roebuck Reds, and well, you probably don't want to just say randomly what they're crossed with. Sorry.
No, it's Roebuck Reds and Swordtails.
Okay.
That's it.
That's the swordtail I've got.
Yep.
Okay. I thought so, but I didn't want to say it. So.
No, there's no secrets. It's what I end up getting with it, and what it's again, fish aren't art. You're looking at it, you're saying, "Wow, I wish I could do something like this." That's what this is about. It's there's some fish, that the art to get them to breed is one of the great mysteries of life.
Yeah. Well,
and
with
guppies and goldfish and bettas, people who breed those all those types of fish, they're breeding for art. Angelfish, discus.
Right. Well,
have you ever done discus, Bob?
Sorry?
Have you ever gotten discus?
I have. I've tried them actually 3 times, and all within the last 10 years. And I got juveniles, or actually, bigger than silver dollar size for those a few years ago, and they just withered. And no matter what I did or who I talked to, or I finally lost the 4th one after 3 or 4 months. And then I tried a couple of times. I ordered some from a really good breeder and got the smaller ones, thinking it was a water acclimation thing, but nope, they just didn't. They just failed to take off.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Hey, thanks for the donation, John, to Bob. It's going to help Bob's deal.
Thank you, John.
The idea here is that, discus, I was in a place when I lived in Little Rock. The water was so soft, it was a natural discus place. And if I would have ended up staying there, I probably would have given it a shot. The local aquarium club there, one of the guys, he was pulling his hair out because he was getting the discus to lay eggs. He was getting them to hatch, but he couldn't get the damn things the hatchlings to go from the cone to start eating off the mama and daddy. which is just weird.
Yeah, I said I wouldn't do it anymore because it's so frustrating to have fish and expensive fish, and
Yeah, not
just kill them, and nothing, no matter what advice you take. I tried so many things, and nothing worked. So no more.
it's Jess and Simply Betta. They've been tempting the heck out of me in Inglorious Bettas to set up a Betta barracks in my new room.
Yeah.
And my concern is if I ever bred Bettas, my home would be filled with jars.
Well, you could do like me and go to Hobby Lobby and get the 4 gallon bowls.
Yeah, well, but I would want to raise babies. You know how this goes.
Yes, I know. I've got
And
2.5 gallon here on my desk and a bunch of bowls, and I've still got my beta fraternity, and that's still going pretty well. But yeah, I know how it goes. Anthony wants wild betas. Huh.
yeah, I don't blame them. I read something just recently though, Anthony, is that there are some of the I saw a video that Inglorious Bettas put out featuring some of the mouth rooting bettas,
Yeah.
which are fantastic. I almost went, wow, I could do that. I read something somewhere, and don't ask me where. Of something I found online, and it was discussed, and I may have been reading it off the International Betta Congress website. Oh, there's the pooch. Is that they were saying that anybody who goes out and sells, anybody selling wild Betta Splendens, they're not there. It is that everything is a cross with a fancier deal.
Yeah.
So John Oliver started off breeding bettas 10 years ago. He had over 200 adult males. Yeah. Well, Science Gal, you need swordtails. Everyone needs to have swordtail guppies.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Now, how many tanks of bettas, or not tanks of bettas? How many tanks of guppies do you have, Bob?
Guppies? Not that many, Peter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But they're all 20 gallon or less.
Okay.
Not that many. And a couple of them I'm actually just keeping the fry in with the adults and growing them out there. It seems to be working.
Yeah, it just depends if they have a hiding spot. Well, of course, with the swordtail guppies, no need to worry. They'll reproduce.
Nope. They put those guys in high chairs and feed them and all that. It seems like, yeah. I haven't ever seen them. And I put some self-in mollies that Ed brought back from Father Fish that they collected down there, and he gave me some. He needed the tank. And I was like, oh my, I don't have a tank, and all that. I had a cold water tank going, but I didn't want to put them. Anyway, I dropped them in there thinking they'll thin out a bunch of those babies. Nope. They don't bother them.
That's funny. That's weird, actually.
It is. It's not just the parents, but well, the self-ins are small. They're not big self-in mollies like we know they're wild. So.
And maybe the deal is maybe that's something that's developed more with captive breeding mollies, for all we know.
Right. Yeah, it's just weird, but I'm going to bring them out and breed those out if they will breed. So.
No, I think those sound great. One second, I'm going to drink water. That's why you're not seeing me. All right, here we go. And get a delicious sip of water, everybody. Water. So the process here, though, is that I'm thinking really hard about doing a water feature in my backyard. To put koi in.
So am I.
And but also I've been thinking about, well, why don't I put like an outbuilding, with a with its own power, its own heat, and maybe I can do a fish room outside of the house.
Yeah. Like Sean OOTD.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could do that.
So I'm thinking about it. There's always a new project to do.
Always, always. But yeah, I've been thinking about koi pond since Rack put in that great big, huge pond that he has and waterfall and stream out back. Nothing like that, but stationary, maybe a square on my deck. Actually, on my deck, I may have to have it reinforced some, but my deck is huge and it's just sitting there. I go out and cook sometimes on the grill, but I really need to have one out there, and it would be for koi and other cold water fish. So we'll see.
Yeah, my house does not have a real nice deck on the back. It has a nice place to put a grill and chairs and stuff like that. I don't really have a deck built in, and that's obviously something else to add as a future project.
Well, what kind of gave me the idea as I was thinking about bringing in a big tub that I haven't used yet and putting it in this living room or another room that probably take my dining room table out, which has a tank on it already, but a big tub for koi. And I thought they would rather be outside, I'm sure, just outside the door here. So we'll see. I've got a lot of stuff I could salvage from my cat house out back that I used to foster cats for the art, but now we own our own property, our own building, so I don't use it for that. But there's a lot of lumber I could use out of that to frame it out and so forth, or someone could use.
Yeah, I haven't gone to the thing of having of inspecting. I've been in this house. It'll be 1 year in about 3 weeks.
It doesn't seem that long.
No, it's absolutely. I'm glad to be in this house. I'm just coming up with new ways to make it more fish friendly.
What are you laughing about?
Fish friendly house.
Oh, gotcha. 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 Well, I was looking to see if there are any other questions or comments. Oh, Chubby Guppy says, "Where are you located?" But I don't know if that's for you or me or who.
I'm in Joplin, Missouri.
And I'm in near Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Part of the Chattanooga Mafia.
Right. Patty's calling for a cookout for members. That sounds like a good idea to me, Cat. Patty, just let us know where to come.
Yeah.
When and where. I'm teasing.
Hey, I'm dealing with my poor little guy, my poor little dog. It's getting close to his final time. The end is coming close.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got 3. Well, 2 for sure in that area. They're 17 and 18 respectively. So
yeah, this one's gonna be 14 fairly quick, and he has a heart condition or that. Now let's see here, Herman. Can you put guppies with cherry shrimp? Yes, you can. Here's the deal, though. Is that I prefer keep my guppies in bare bottom tanks. I have a grow out tank that does have a substrate on it. It does have cherry shrimp. They work out just fine. Guppies will not harass the shrimplets. You just have to give them, stuff to go through there.
Here's another question, Peter. If you want to do that one, I'd appreciate it from Bo Mama.
Yeah, well, here's a couple of things. With the best advice I can give you is get good guppies. And I prefer avoiding any LFS, any of the big box stores. It's find an aquarium club near you. You don't have to pay the shipping costs. A lot of these aquarium clubs, they do at table sales, or they do meetings where they do stuff off. You can contact them, the aquarium club, and say, "Hey, do you know anybody who breeds guppies?" And you can be introduced to somebody, and they'll sell them to you, and the quality will be much better than you'll get anywhere else.
Right.
The other thing is, I guess my other advice for that, high protein food, baby brine shrimp is so important. I mean, it is just, it's a little bit of a pain in the neck. I get it, but it is, I do it every morning. I woke up with a headache at 3 a.m. I went out and I took my Tylenol and I set up a culture for tomorrow's feeding of the baby brine shrimp. I just do that every day.
Really isn't that much trouble. I used to be really, really big back in the day, 30, 35 years ago, angelfish, breeding angelfish. And I always got BBS for them to eat, for the fry to eat. So.
It's pretty easy to make, really, and it just, you get so much, you get really good results out of the stuff.
Yeah. Somebody said, Maria said that her guppies ate her shrimp. Yeah. Huh.
Yours ate them? Yeah, I have not had that issue, but who knows? I'm not going to say it didn't happen. By the way, my brine shrimp hatchery, I bought mine with the screw-in bottle at the top, with the bottom of the type of thing. I haven't built my own. At some point, I'm gonna need enough brine shrimp that I'm gonna have to get one of those 2-liter ones, but I'm not there yet.
Right.
I look at the gravity ones, and I saw somebody ask me about it the other day, and they don't produce enough. They just don't.
Right.
It's you want to go and give them high end. You want to produce enough of those things to feed your fish.
Right. Maria has the Italian guppies, so that may be the difference.
Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, Chubby Guppy. I feed. Again, I think it's the whole process here. Is I don't have a problem with my male guppies boxing out. I feed very high protein at all times. Let's see. I have one thing that's just over 50%. I have another thing that is my flake food that I feed is just shy of 50%, but it's about how much food you give them. And a lot of times, especially with the older fish, you don't need to give them as much as you would fry.
Yeah. Maria's always the timekeeper for me because I run over, and I appreciate it. 10 minutes, she says. Well, I'm not feeding baby brine shrimp right now, but I am feeding vinegar eels, white worms, and first bites. And I usually mix those a little bit and let them pick what they want. But some of that stuff I also feed to the axolotls when I'm fooling with them, which I'm not now, so I have plenty of food. But yeah, I should be doing the baby brine. I do feed frozen baby brine, which is not as good.
And I do get frozen Daphnia, frozen Cyclops, and I give that to my guppies probably about twice or 3 times a week.
Yeah, and I do the Cyclops too. I also got a nice culture from John Cox. And by the way, has anybody seen John Cox? I started asking yesterday. I just realized I haven't seen him for a week, probably. That's a long time for
He
YouTube.
was on he was on one of my live streams. I don't know if it was this past Saturday or last week.
Okay. Well, I might message him. I met up with him and Ginger Graves and Beverly, not Beverly. Oh, what's her name? Tiffany White. Ed went along with me. Anyway, I got a nice culture of Daphne from Daphnia, from John, and I put half of it outside in my tub because he keeps his outside and it's colder where he's at than here, and half of it in a tank. So I was out today. The tub had thawed enough to look down in it, and don't you know there was duckweed down in there alive, and there was one snail that I saw moving around. But I couldn't quite make out any Daphnia, but the ones inside are. So I plan on feeding those as well to the guppies. Not the newly born, but when they're a couple weeks old. All right.
Let's see, how much are those Rubbermaid trash cans in the USA? I think I paid like $30 for the 46-gallon one on sale.
Yeah, because I remember them being about 50. I've thought about them before, but since I have the Python, was around early this morning. Okay. His job hours may have changed too, or something. Tetracolor granules and omega pellets are my staples with brine and bloodworms for live. Scuds when I can.
I've never worked with scuds. I've worked with, and I've not worked with vinegar eels. I have worked with white worms, banana worms, and let's see, and what's the other worm? Not grindle. I forget which other one is just not at the top of my head. I went and Bob, you've been is that I found that my place was beginning to smell like death, and as much as I'm committed to my fish, the worms were making my home smell like death. So microworms, absolutely. It sounded like so I just moved on from them.
Yeah. What does AJ say? Fundraising attempt makes the fry go faster.
I just keep 76 degrees. That's it. I don't worry about it.
Yeah. I use the preset heaters in those 10 gallons that are set at 78, and that's about where they stay. So, no, I don't raise them either.
Yeah. And by the way, that's all what I use in my tents. It's great.
And guppies, and that's certainly being borne out in the cold weather and the outages we're having now. Guppies are one of the fish that really tolerate temporary cold water fairly well. It doesn't stress them as much as a lot of the other live bears or egg layers. They're pretty tough.
Yeah, Tuesday I had a outage. They had rolling power outages in my area because it got to 14 below zero.
Man.
14 below zero. It's not wind chill. That was the actual temperature.
We had the teens down here then, but that was awful too.
Yeah, it's for the folks in Texas. You know, it's I got home and my house, the heat was running, and the heat was 55 degrees in the house. And the aquariums, I took the temp gauge to them, and they were at 70.
That's good.
I didn't check the Amica. The Amica Splendens aquarium is not heated. I am guessing it may have been down to, right now, this time of year, it averages at about 62 degrees. So my guess is that it was probably about 58, 57, which is fine for them.
Chewy's reinforcing what we've seen time after time is that you can grow them fast, but with forcing food and raising the temperatures, it will shorten their lifespan.
Yeah,
it will. Just depends on what your goal is,
Yeah, and again, I get the idea if someone was entering in shows and they have fry there and they need it to be ready. So, raising the temp a couple of degrees. But for most of us, that's just not going to be that important of a deal. It just isn't.
Well, Maria says we have 5 minutes, Peter, and I want to make sure that we have shared out your channel link. I know we have several times, but I want to encourage people to subscribe to Peter's channel if you haven't already. I think you'll really enjoy the content, and now you know a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff that I didn't even know, and I've been a member, not a member, but a subscriber there. I guess a member of the club for a while. So,
Yeah, you're part of my gang.
oh yeah, Doug Gray and I get going at each other, and Ed, get Ed in there. So, like we said, it's pretty much the same people that we usually hang out with, so you'll enjoy it. And also, we know how if you want to reach out to Peter to get any guppies, I highly recommend those double swords. You're calling them swords, but they're double swords. No, they're not. No, they're not.
They're single lower swords.
Yeah, I'm looking over here at my double swords that are not even related to them. Sorry. I think
Yeah, no worries.
9 tanks is enough guppies for me, don't you think?
No!
Talking about the wrong ones. Yeah. Yeah, they are awesome. I've got 3 tanks now, and I got mine. Ed got his from Peter, and Peter offered to give me some, and I thought, well, that's nice. And he gave me like 100 of them. I'm not kidding you guys. So they're just so prolific. So a real good investment on those, and they're gorgeous. So you didn't really say what those were made of, what you made those from.
I got a couple of different varieties from one of the real big swordtail IFGA breeders, and I combined them, and I've tried to get a certain type of pattern with them.
Yeah,
and that's what I tried to do.
Okay, but they are beautiful, and also Rico Stan has them. He should be getting almost big enough to breed soon. He should be.
Yeah.
Tim Chubby Guppy says faster growth also leads to more deformities. I had not heard that, but it surprised me. All right, there's Peter's email. So,
well, let's see. The Chevy, I forgot a B, so I'm typing it in there. 2 B's, 2 P's.
Oh yeah, I didn't catch that. MOBB Guppy. Thank you, Chevy.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Peter, for catching it.
Hey, no problem.
I can barely see the bold who's typing stuff. There we go. Thank you, Peter. All right. If nobody has any other questions or anything, we'll go ahead and close. I don't want to run over on the next streamer. So, Peter, do you mind closing? Peter, by the way, one of his talents is that is an announcer and has been an announcer. He has a radio voice, not a TV voice, a radio voice. So I'll ask him if he'll close us out. Really put him on the spot.
Thank you. Hey, by the way, thanks for hitting the likes. Thank you for supporting Bob Kaler's channel and Kaler Aquatics, and that's the best thing you can do.
And thank you for the donation. Name went right out of my head. It gets worse every day, Peter.
John Oliver.
John Oliver, yeah. And John and I follow each other on Instagram and Facebook, so I see him all the time, every day. So thank you, John, and thank you, mods, and again, thank you, Peter.
Thank you very much, gang. I really appreciate it. Bob, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.